summer, when COVID all hit us at smack in the face, I saw you put out a tweet earlier telling all the high school football coaches that if they need help, that you can be a resource for them. And I believe you shared your COVID strength plan with, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, hundreds of high school coaches that ended up reaching out. Tell us a little bit how you had to adjust, what you learned about yourself, the other coaches, and the athletes throughout all this, COVID mess.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I put that tweet out thinking I might get 50 responses. And within about, I remember I was sitting on my back porch, and me and my wife were reading, just reading books, and my phone just keeps buzzing. I actually made a Gmail account that was Army Football Strength or something like that, just for people to log on and send me the email, just so I wasn't getting and I got, within the first 24 to 48 hours, 1,000 responses of people reaching out. So
Wow.
I had to figure out how to use Gmass, which I still don't really know how to use. I had to get extra storage space on Gmail, which I didn't really know how to do. So that was a quick. I got the Gmail tutorial in 24 hours where I had to respond to those emails. And I'm sure there's one or two people. I kept sending out texts, like tweets, like, "Hey, if I missed you, resend your email," because I was a little overwhelmed, but in such a positive way. And it was humbling to get that kind of response that people actually care what me and my staff kind of put on paper. And the whole COVID situation was really interesting for us. So our guys were on spring break, and the whole week leading up to it, you kept hearing about schools canceling school and sending their kids home, and our guys were on spring break, so they were all over the country. And that's one unique thing about West Point is there's kids from every single state in the country here, and our football team is highly diverse in that aspect too. And it was probably Thursday. I was like, I haven't heard anything. I was like, West Point could probably manage this. They'll probably come back. And then it was Friday, and I remember it was probably about 8 o'clock at night. And we get an email from General Williams, the superintendent, and a few other of the military leaders here, and they said the cadets aren't coming back for 2 weeks. So that Friday night, I remember I said to my wife, so I sent my guys home with a 1-week program for spring break, and it was very basic. It was pretty much just a maintenance program. Hey, 3 days of running, 4 days of lifting, get it in. You'll come back. We'll go into spring ball and we'll be all set. So what I did was that night I went in. I put together 2 more weeks of the program. Wanted them to get it to them that day, so I sent it out. Hey guys, just to kind of calm their nerves about, hey, I don't know if I'm coming home. Just something they could reasonably hang on to. Say, hey, I still got a program, so I'm gonna be all right. And so it got to be about. So I did all that work, and it got to be about Monday or Tuesday that next week, and I was like, there's no way our guys are coming back in 2 weeks. Every other school in the country had canceled, and it was a mess. So what me and my staff did, I said, guys, like, we can't just expect them, because we don't know when this is going to end. We can't just expect them to find a gym, because gyms are closing, things like that. So what we did was we called every single player in the first Monday or Tuesday of that week, when I decided, hey, they weren't coming back for a while. We called every single guy on our team and developed and asked them. We had a checklist of questions. What you have for equipment. So some guys had a full gym. They had a home gym. They had a squat rack, bumper plates, like unbelievable. Some guys had nothing. Like some guys had I'm talking no equipment. So I actually, that week I went, we have a big sand pit that I use. I fill up different pieces of equipment with. So I filled up one of our Army football, like little duffel bags, and I put together some exercises that, and I put it out on Twitter or YouTube or one of the things where it was just exercises you could just do. I just put that out for the general public. And then we developed a program for each one of our guys based on their position, what equipment they had in their house, from full gym all the way down to some guys just had a bar, some guys had a bar and a bench, some guys had just dumbbells. One guy had one kettlebell, all the way down to just sandbag bodyweight workouts. And we developed what started out as a 4-week plan, and then developed into a 8-week plan, and then ended up being a 10-week plan, just to get our guys to be able to move and stay healthy. And really, what was unbelievable about their response was our guys did it, and they worked their tails off on it. And what was interesting is about probably end of April, beginning of May, we started formulating plans with our hospital on campus, with the senior military leaders here, with our athletic training staff, with the football coaching staff, with the support staff on how we're going to get the guys back here. And General Williams had enough trust in football and the way that our staff and the athletic training staff and the hospital was going to manage it, that our guys were the first cadets back on campus. So on June 1st, and we had to send our plan through the hospital 3 or 4 times. We had to up all of our cleaning protocols. We started off with, when our 100 guys came back, we did 4 groups of 25. We have 30 power racks in the weight room, so that was pretty usable. I mean, we weren't allowed to spot. We weren't allowed to share any equipment. We weren't allowed to come in within 6 feet of each other. They were wearing glasses and masks and gloves at all times in here. Our guys actually lived between our facility and a few other facilities from some of the other sports on this post for 2 weeks, lived right in those facilities, and they didn't interact at all. So the group that was your pod that you worked out with, those were the guys that you saw 24 hours a day. And we would have big spaced out team meetings in our bubble where everyone would be at least 6 feet apart wearing the mask. And it was almost surreal, but it felt so good to get our guys back and have them be trained. It was after those 2 months where, I mean, I wasn't coaching, I was down it. So I would have grouped them, and I would have coached them in groups of 1 just to have them back. And it was pretty unbelievable. And we had a phased approach to getting back to normal training. So there was phase 1 where it was 2 weeks of just that was called our control monitoring phase. Mm-hmm. And then stayed in those groups for a little bit longer, but we were allowed to spot, still wearing gloves and masks and things like that. And then it transformed, and it kept phasing up and phasing up until, I mean, camp where we're practicing, we're playing games. And what's unique about this place and pretty awesome is since June 1st, the first time we tested, and we've tested every week, sometimes multiple times, we have not had 1 positive test.